All right, guys. So welcome back to Bridge Youth Podcast. My name is Michael,
I'm Jennifer.
I'm Ceecee.
I'm Ashley.
and today we're talking about commitment to Jesus Christ.
Hallelujah.
What do you guys think? You guys are committed?
Yes.
Trying every
Yeah.
day.
Yes.
Every day.
Well, I think this kind of goes along. I'm not going to talk about like my commitment. Well, I guess, but I think I'm pretty committed to Christ. And I think I'm at the age right now that I'm enjoying Him. I'm enjoying my relationship with Him. It's fun to really seek Him and to get to know Him more. So I would say that I am absolutely 100% committed to Christ. I don't think of ever straying away because life is just so much scarier out there in the world.
Imagine life without him.
Oh God, I don't want to imagine that.
Yeah,
I've been there.
that's
It
not a
didn't work out.
that's
so
not a
why I'm
life.
here.
Exactly.
Right?
So I would say I'm committed to Christ. I have a pretty good relationship with Him. It can be better, but I
It
have
could always be better.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I have a pretty good relationship with Him. How about you guys?
Same. So, like how I said in on the last video, we all try to do our best to be committed to Christ and like have that kind of relationship, that kind of routine where you're able to connect with Him, whether that's with prayer, whether that's with reading the Word, whether that's through like evangelizing with other people. And one thing that really does help me is reading the Word as well as prayer. And if you guys could go to or just listen, it says Luke 9:23, and it says it shows where Jesus says how to be a follower of Him. So it says, "Then He said to the crowd, if any of you wants to be my follower, you must turn from your selfish ways, take up your cross daily, and follow me." Obviously, meaning that so if you have those kind of like when it comes to selfish ways, it's like you know how in today's society, maybe even in that time too, it's always about like what I want.
Yeah.
It's always about me.
Your desires.
Yes.
Or
If you don't accommodate to what I want or what I like, then you can get out of my life or just block people like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
which is not the way to go, especially when you're a Christian. Because the point is to have more followers of Christ and you know have more people to connect to in order to follow Him.
And even like just to write off of what you just said, he's talking about commitment with him in everything,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
meaning letting go of everything that
Oh,
has
yeah.
nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
And now if we go to Luke 14:26-27, if anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sister, yes, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple.
That was
Yeah.
one other one that I was gonna mention. So
And whoever does not bear his cross and comes after me cannot be my disciple. So it's like, it sounds harsh to say, hate my
Yeah.
mom, my brother, my
Yeah.
sister,
That
my
word.
wife,
people, yeah.
my kids.
No. People looking from out to, like to in. What do you think that? What does it mean? Does it literally mean
Like
hate them?
No. I mean, what I take from this is you love everyone and you're always
Yeah.
like, I love you, like love my mom, love my sister, love my brother, love my daughter, love my husband, because I can't say wife because I don't have a wife.
Yeah. I have one.
Yeah, you do. That doesn't apply to me. So it's like, it's not literally saying hate them. It's just, you got to show love for them, but you got to love God, Jesus more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it comes
First.
with first, like put them first above anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that when my mom started to coming back to the ways of God, I had to kind of like remind her. I was like, Mom, I'm going to church. But why? I have to do this and I have to do that first. Like, why do you got to go to church now? Because the word does say He comes first.
Yeah.
And little by little, I have to teach her, like, I love you, but He comes first. Like, after
Oh.
Him comes you.
Then, yeah.
But a lot of people like to contradict that because because they like to say a relationship with God comes first, but not going to church. But then the Bible tells us to congregate, to be in the same spirit,
Yeah.
to be in the same atmosphere. So it goes hand in hand. So people can't say, "Oh, yeah, God comes first, and I'm taking care of my relationship with God and not
Go to
being
church.
exactly," because it's essential for us as Christians to have that community.
Mhm.
So it's just like you can't contradict yourself. Like, yes, God comes first, but having a community goes hand in hand.
Ask her now. Mom, are you going to church? He comes first. You already taught me
Yeah.
that. And the word says it.
Now, going back to what the verse that you were saying, it was Luke 14:25 to 27, I believe.
26 to 27.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna read from 25, and then
Ooh.
the title it says the cost of being a disciple. 25 says a large crowd was following Jesus. He turned around and said to them, "If you want to be my disciple, you must hate everyone else. By comparison, your father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, even your own life. Otherwise, you cannot be my disciple. And if you do not carry your own cross and follow me, you cannot be my disciple." So, like the word that really stands out to me is in comparison, meaning that like the love that you have for Christ, or that commitment you have towards him, has to be, it almost looks like you hate your family, but not in a sense of, like actual hate where you don't want to kill them.
Oh, no.
Obviously not.
Sometimes you feel like
Yeah.
it when your brother eats your like snacks and stuff.
I
but-
never did that with my sister though.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
that's not true. I went over to your house
Spill the tea.
to make cookies, and they told me that we had to hide them or else Michael would come and eat them. So I don't know about that.
Wow, I don't know what you mean, but yeah, no, but
He pleads the fifth.
I plead the fifth, yeah. Yeah, so for that verse specifically, obviously it's not hate, but it almost looks like that love has to be so much greater than the one
Greater
that
than
you
the
have
ones
to
you have.
yourself,
Mhm.
or the love you have towards your family and friends.
Like your priorities have to be straight, and God has to be the absolute zero of one of them. Like
Yeah.
0, 1, 2, 3, not none of them, but the top. And then after that, you can start saying, okay, these are the things that I have to do. But just having that God as your priority, your commitment to Him, and committing to someone, it's hard because like in a relationship, your parents committing to something, an event, it takes a lot from you. And I think the perfect example is like maybe like a relationship. When you commit to a relationship, there's so many, not rules, but things you have to do to respect one another, to honor one another, and to make each other happy because you decided, or marriage, to make that commitment. I'm not a marriage therapist, but
This is what I think.
this is my opinion.
It's
on this.
common knowledge too.
Yeah.
for that.
So when you commit to something, when you decide, when you declare from your mouth, I'm going to commit to God. I'm going to commit to this guy. In your case, I'm going to commit to Damaris,
Yeah, my wife.
You kind of die, you kind of
You
surrender.
become one with that
Yes.
person.
You surrender yourself and you're just like, these are the views that I have, and these are the views that the other person has, but which one is the right way to live? And that's the commitment to Christ.
For Christians, I wrote down, it says, we as Christians, we call upon people to die to themselves and trust in Christ as more precious than anything that this world has to offer. And that definitely has to be one of the pinnacle of Christianity, where you put him as your father, the one that is always there for you, the one that is always going to take care of you, that's always gonna protect you in any situation, and no matter what happens, that you can trust and rely on him,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Then that's also part of our first commandment,
Mm-hmm.
that you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. And this is your first and great commitment.
Yep.
And this is in Matthew 22, 37, 38.
Yeah. I mean, we can't go halfway with him. There's no being a hot and cold Christian. It's in or out.
Yep.
And everything, love him with everything that you have, surrender everything, love him. And I think the hardest thing that we do, or like the hardest thing to do, is trust him completely, because our human nature is to want to have some type of control, some type of like say in what goes on in our life, and surrendering to him. It's he has control. It's what he says. I'm just the one doing the work. You know, he's just using my hands, and it's all up to him what we do. It's not up to me.
I think that's the hardest, to surrendering.
Yeah.
Letting go, like, dying to yourself. Your desires, what you want. It's kind of like you need to put it first in God's hands and ask him permission. And if it happens, it happens. If it's his will, but we're just so used to like, I want this, I'm going to go get it.
Yeah.
And that's a key point you just said. His will, not ours.
Yeah.
His will.
And that's hard. That's hard to...
Very.
And it's in everything. Yeah, it's in everything. I think we like even the small things. Like right now, I just really want boba right now. So I'm thinking like I want boba. I'm gonna go get boba. But it starts like that when we're thinking that we are the ones having the control. When it's like, no, it's God's will that I'm gonna go get boba. It's small things like that.
And he is totally in control, because if it was up to us, I will forget to tell myself breathe. I will forget to tell myself move. I'm honest. I mean, I can be an airhead sometimes.
We don't think about breathing and you just don't.
There's things that come naturally.
Naturally, that's something that's such the beauty of the Creator, that we don't have to think about those things. Because if I depended on myself, I would have been gone.
Unless you have an Apple Watch, unless you have an Apple Watch who tells you to breathe. And I'm just like,
your pulse ox is now 60.
I'm like mute. I don't want to breathe for the day.
Yeah. So I think we have to have God to a standard too, where he is gonna be like, he's worth losing everything for.
Yeah.
100%.
So, yeah, because if you have him in a sense that you only speak to him, you have that relationship with him only when you need him. It's kind of that, oh, I need you here, but the rest of my life, I just don't need you anymore, and that just makes you look like even a hypocrite to yourself.
Selfish.
Yeah, or selfish as well, because like if you were to do that to your mom or your dad, first of all, they'll smack you across the face. For sure. Yeah,
my mom would.
Yeah, because it's like
no lie.
Yeah, she'll throw it from the house and then coming through the freeway and
Seriously.
Yeah,
sorry, the sound effects.
No, because it's very disrespectful.
It is.
It really is, because they're the ones that have been there for you since the beginning, like of your physical birth.
Yeah.
And
they'll never let you forget it.
Yeah,
I know.
These 20 hours of labor were because of you, and you don't want to eat your broccoli. I'm just joking.
No, yeah, but it's true. So like, imagine the people that physically created us, while the actual person who had us in mind even before when we were in our mother's womb.
Yeah.
We have to have that kind of honor and respect towards him.
But imagine if everyone thought about it that way. Like how special it is that, we're honoring the person who thought of us way before we were something in our mom's stomach, how special that is, and how sometimes we take it for granted that we think that, oh, we're Christians, oh, we live a good life. He has us covered, but there's commitment to that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's question of the day. Sorry.
Go for it.
Is Jesus so valuable to us that we will let go of everything that he calls us to let go of in order to follow him? That's something that I think every Christian should ask themselves, like every single day of our lives. Because sometimes, like how we talked about before, we get so caught up on our everyday routine or our own lives or situations that we experience, where we forget about having that time and commitment towards God.
You said, is he worth it?
Yeah, no, it's the question.
Yeah.
It says, is Jesus so valuable to us that we will let go of everything that he calls us to let go of in order to follow him?
Yes.
And is he worth losing everything for?
For sure.
Hands
Yeah,
down,
absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of the times, though, because the Bible tells us that our heart is the most deceiving,
Yeah.
and a lot of the times we do think with our emotions rather than our minds or logically. But if we think about it logically, yes, absolutely 100%, I would let go of anything he tells me to let go of, because come on, like, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
You know?
From a Christian perspective.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because we know that there's so much more than what he's telling us to let go of. And I've had to go through those situations where I've had to let go of friends because God tells me to, even if it's so hard for me, or like even if I'm trying to hold on so bad to them. But when I think about it, I'm like, you know what? I had to cut this person off, or like maybe not cut them off completely, but just like have a more distant relationship with them, because God is going to open up so much like greater things for me.
It reminds me of a picture that I saw. It says, you trust God, and you see God standing there with a big teddy bear behind his back, and you see a little girl in front of him with her favorite little teddy bear. And he's asking her, do you trust me? Like, what I have behind me is so much better than what you're going to turn into me, which is her favorite little teddy bear. So you see her handing over her little teddy bear, and he gives her a big, big teddy bear. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like
an analogy.
Yeah, exactly. Of giving or surrendering or giving away
something so precious to us,
so valuable, and he will give you something like 10 times better that you can't even imagine, like, for real.
Right. Yeah. Or another one would be like, because I know a lot about, like, because I'm so involved in school, there was this teacher that before everyone took an exam, she told everyone, okay, this is your choice. If you want to walk out right now, you get a C. But if you want to work for something better, stay and take the exam and get the grade that you deserve. And maybe like 2/3 of the classroom walked out wanting to get that C. And once everyone was out, the teacher was like, okay, turn your paper around. And then in the front of that paper was an A. Wow. And it was like, oh my gosh. And it was like, everyone was just shocked.
Like, yes, thank God we stayed.
Yes. But then when everyone else found out, they were like, oh man, I should have stayed. Like, you know, so it's kind of like a slap in the face. Like, you left with the C, but you could have gotten an A.
Easy A, too.
Yeah.
That's how God works, man. We just have to trust.
You're thinking about that, huh?
That was good. Wow.
But sometimes we don't stick around to see what's better, because we're just like, this is good for right now. I'm happy. And I don't think it can get any better than this, but I want to stay and be committed and get something better.
Yeah.
That's good. So what does it mean to be a follower of Christ? And remember, this is just basic Christianity. This is one thing that I was reading. If we go to Matthew 10:39, it says, if you cling to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for me, you will find it.
I love that.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool, because it's pretty much saying how, like, everything that you have on this earth, every other the type of the relationships that you have with other different kind of people, whether it's your parents, your family, your friends, people at church, people at work, people anywhere, whatever you have on this earth, you have a life that you make up of. Yeah. And whether or not that life is good or bad, the life that you give, when you give your own life to God, He'll help you find yourself and in an identity of Christ. You kind of get me?
Yeah.
Where you have this sense of belonging to Him. Yeah. And this sense of fatherly love from Him. So that's one of the reasons why I follow Him too.
A good book to read about that, like finding your identity in Christ, is So David Perceived He Was King. It talks about David's like life, because we know that he was one of the characters or people in the Bible that went through everything, like thick and thin, thunderstorms, sunshine.
He was also part of murder too.
I mean, everything, yeah. So that book, David Perceived He Was King, basically talked about how David found his identity in Christ. So, I mean, you have a sense of belonging, and I think that a lot of the times we feel alone, but knowing that there's a Father who loves us, there is a King who loves us, just helps us out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Especially through like when you're going through depression or
Yeah.
you're through, or through anxiety or whatever kind of situation you go through. There's times where you feel just hopeless.
Yeah.
And you feel like the world is like upon your shoulders. Even though that's obviously a cliche, but it's true. You obviously feel like that sometimes.
Yeah, a
Even
burden. You feel like so much weight.
overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And even if you're a Christian, maybe even sometimes because you're a Christian,
Yeah.
because of the what's it called? How can you say it? Like the overwhelming criticism that you get when you become a Christian, when you are very like when you're very out loud or
Yeah.
you speak aloud about what you believe in, especially politically, and that definitely impacts you in a way that can very that it can really affect your self esteem.
It kind of shuts you up. Like not like even like literally and emotionally and everything, because they shut you up because you're Christian and they're like, no, you can't say this because your political views, like an example, are not the same as ours, or it's kind of just like you feel like you don't have to say because you don't think the same thing that everyone else thinks of.
Yeah, that's true. So one thing that does help me, which is having that relationship with him and that commitment, because when you have that commitment, you have that motivation to read the Bible, and you have that motivation to talk to people more about God.
Yeah, and you have certain standards that you have to follow, like, okay, the basic 10 commandments. So when that's what we show all the kids in like Bible school or like Sunday school, the 10 commandments. And when we make that commitment with God, even the babies know that, oh, you can't lie, or you have to honor your mother and your father. So when you make a commitment, there are certain standards to that commitment, and we have that in our minds. So we're thinking like, okay, this is a commitment I made. This is what I have to follow. And if I break these rules, I'm breaking my commitment.
There's consequences to everything, but I think the best and most important commitment you can ever do is to follow Christ.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the hardest, maybe, or maybe not the easiest, because you have to let go of so many things.
It's
you
just
will lose a lot of
rewarding.
things.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot of talk that like it's not the easiest. And yeah, absolutely it's not the easiest. But I think we say that so much that it scares people to come to know him. Like I think we need to start saying like it's so rewarding. Like it's not gonna be butterfly like sunshine and butterflies.
Oh, no, definitely
you
not.
know? I like to say
It's rewarding, but not like materialistic.
yes.
Yeah.
But I like to say like if it was easy, everyone would do it. You know?
Yeah,
If it was a piece of cake, everyone would be in heaven. But it's not, you know, it's a narrow road for a reason. It's so small, like not everyone can fit. But then the wide road is so much easier, you know? And there's a reason for that, because it takes dedication, it takes commitment, it takes honor, respect to walk in that narrow road.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always does. One thing that also helps me is just like being grateful of what I have, and giving thanks to God for like whether that's in health or whether that's in like the situation I am financially, or the people that I have around me too.
Yeah.
That definitely helps me and encourages me to have that commitment towards him.
Yeah, we get to be grateful for the little things. It
Yeah.
could be the littlest things. Like it could be, I don't know.
A Twinkie.
Oh, I don't like Twinkies.
That was
You
a
like
reference.
Twinkies?
I think they're good. Sorry.
Or a boba.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
yeah, boba too.
anything. Like just anything that
Bubble
that
tea
other
too.
people may take for granted. Like I've been to Honduras, and over there, when I take a shower, like they don't have hot water.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You would have to like boil it.
My mom
Boil
had to
it.
boil water for me, so I can take a shower. But then when I came here, I'm like,
several pots.
thank God I have hot
I know
water.
how much
Like
water
just
you waste.
something you don't think of that
Yeah.
anybody else like out there in the world that doesn't have. Like we just come to realization that we're so grateful for like the little things, and we see that.
Yeah.
in Christ.
First world problem, huh?
Man,
Yeah,
it's
completely different
real.
from third world.
Yes,
It's
it
real,
is
and I
real.
see them. I don't know. It's so real. It changed my life 100. Like I just wish everyone could experience that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I went to Ghana, and the things that are over there, it's kind of like, whoa, you learn to live but be grateful with so like with what you have, and what you have is enough. Like,
And they're so happy.
yes, oh my gosh, the kids over
So
there,
happy.
everyone was just so friendly, and like, yeah, their faith is like, oh, God bless you, God bless you. You know, like over there, all they would eat is fish, and because that they're like mainly fishermen, so they go out, they cook fish in salt, just salt, not even like lemon or anything. And I'm over here trying to think what I'm gonna eat today, like if it's such an issue,
Yeah.
you know. And then even those things get us upset, like I'm hangry. But when you start thinking about them, like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I just wanted to talk about how like also that commitment, like you were saying how it was rewarding.
Yeah.
It does reward you. Not materialistically, because that's one of the common misperceptions that people have is like
Come to
when
Christ
come to
and-
Christ and your life is gonna be sunshines
Sunshines
and
and
butterflies.
rainbows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
or-
rainbows.
yeah,
No.
anything like that. But it's not like that. Like how you were saying, CC, it's just not like that. If anything, it's gonna be harder in the beginning for sure.
In the beginning, and every single other day, where the enemy knows that you're
Mhm.
walking a straight path.
Yeah.
Like when he sees, so Ceece's trying to be good on God's side, huh? Okay, let me put this in her way. Boom,
Yeah.
there goes Ceecee. Like he knows. And when he knows that, to come to a point when you finally have that relationship with God, where first and foremost, the first enemy to any relationship with God is yourself.
Yeah.
It's
Ugh.
yourself.
Yes.
If you don't accept it, and if you don't get past that, the enemy, Satan, the world don't even worry about you.
Mhm.
It's just overcoming that first enemy, which is yourself. And then when you finally overcome the second enemy, which is the world, then, when you hit that third spot where he's like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
She no longer does this. She no longer likes to party. She no longer drinks. She no longer smokes. She no longer does this. I need to get involved where it hits her. Family, finances, her health. And that's where you're like, I committed to you, God, for a reason. Like, why is this so hard? And people are
Yeah.
like, oh, well, have your God heal you. Have your God provide for you. Have your God do this for you. And sometimes I'm just like, oh, I wish I could just tell you how much my God can do to you too. And, give you peace of my mind. But I remember that, I am a Christian and I love you and I have to pray for you. Remember, I'm from the south side of heaven. So it's difficult. It's hard because you do go through things for
Yeah.
his name. And it tells you when you pick up that cross, you're going to have, tests just because you said you love me, just because you said you're putting me first, and that's one of the things that I've learned the hard way, unfortunately, when I was younger. Now, I'm more mature, thank God, I'm more seasoned. I understand things and I can now.
Spicy.
Oh, yes.
Remember, it says
Sugar and spice makes everything a little nice. That's what
Yeah.
the Powerpuff Girl said.
Yeah. With the salt
Sugar,
of this
spice,
world.
and everything nice.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, we are the light and the salt of the world. So it's crazy that now I can talk about these things. And as some of you guys may know, I have my little niece
Yeah.
Maya. If you're watching this, hi.
Chicken
Love you.
wing.
Oh, yeah, she loves that
Love.
song. Having to explain things to her, and I am happy that she's growing up in this environment.
Yeah.
That we're able to explain to her that she has such love for God, and we're teaching her to put him first. She has her questions, of course. She's only 7,
Of course.
yeah. And she's like, I want to do this and I want to do that. I mean, if you gave her a choice, she'll be in here with us right now.
Oh, I know.
Like-
She's very well spoken too.
Yes. So she, oh my God, that child. I love her. So, I mean, I'm happy that she could see things. And now that I went through things, I can probably not prevent everything, but at least guide her,
Yeah.
guide her and have her speak to her and try to dissect things to where she understands. Again, she was going to a Catholic school, so I already know how that is growing up with 2 religions in your family. And there's things that she's like, but why in class they do this? And I tell them I can't, and I get in trouble.
She
And-
currently goes to those schools?
Unfortunately, this is her last year.
True.
So,
Because she's your sister's daughter, right?
correct. Yeah, but dad's Catholic, so. Yeah.
Makes sense.
So it's there's things that she has questions about with commitment and what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
And I just tell her, we go to a verse and I explain it to her and I break it down to her. She's like, oh, okay, I get it. I understand. And then she goes back to the teacher and the teacher's like, well, 0 for no no participation. I'm like, you can't do that. She's there because one, it's the safety of the education. I mean, let's be honest, public schools now are not as safe as they used to be. I mean, well, they weren't safe even back in the days. Come on. I come from the era when I had the veteranos in there.
Yeah.
Not telling you how old I am, or how young
She's
I am,
15.
or how young I am. But, you know, it's something where when they made the decision to put her there, it was kind of like, how are we going to show her commitment to God, to our faith, what we believe in when she's growing up like we did, you know? So she understands now. I sometimes think like she doesn't understand, but she does understand. She comprehends. And if you see her when she has her moments and you just don't pay attention to her because she can be a shy butterfly, she's worshiping with all her might. Like, she even likes to sing something. I was like, whoa, she kind of does have vocals. Like, you know, it's like, I could
Like
work with
chicken
you.
wing,
Chicken wing.
That's beautiful. You guys are guiding her the right way,
Yes,
though, because the Bible says when you
Instruye el
them.
niño. en su
desde
camino.
pequeños, yes, like
I don't know that verse in English. I know
It's kind of like, let's translate it. Like, it's
Yeah.
kinda like if you plant that seed in that child,
Oof.
the love of God, when
Yeah.
he grows up, he won't part ways. Why? Because that's instructed, implanted in him, and he will always have that guidance.
Yes.
Yep.
And even when they go through a trial, tribulation, and they end up walking away, guess what? Hey, you're a child of God. You were planted with that. So let me reel you back in
Yeah.
and show you where my faith has taken you, where I'm going to take you if you decide to come back to me. Of course, God is such a gentleman that he doesn't force anything to me.
Yeah.
That's
does
true
it.
love.
That is true
free
love.
will.
He has free will. He's like, oh, you shouldn't be drinking then, but I love you and know that I'm going to take care of you, you know? And believe me, a lot of people, and even myself at some point, you know, got home in ways that I was like, how did I make it here? God, you really love me, you know?
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is something that I'm happy, you know, showing her that commitment, showing her that, you know, you're going to have bumps. You're going to have a rough road. But guess what? Every time you go through it, it's going to be like, we're there. Like, he has you, and it's always going to be rewarding. And your
Yeah.
rewards are not here in earth.
Exactly.
No.
They're in heaven. Because at
Yes.
the end of the day, I'm just waiting for that day where I hear that trumpet.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I'm up there
No.
glorifying him,
Yeah,
giving him
so-
thanks, and just, you know, surrendering my crown to him, because that's all I want to do, to be honest.
Amen. So let's remember to stay committed
Yes.
and just encouraging everyone to stay committed. Everyone watching this, you know, thank you for joining us
Thank you,
today.
guys.
Oh, yeah.
And remember to stay committed because, like Ceecee said, there's so much more in heaven than what this earth has to offer.
Yes.
And don't forget to follow along with us every Thursday on our Facebook, our YouTube, and our Instagram
It could be Thursday or Friday. We're not too sure when
when we're going to
posting yet,
upload.
so-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll let let you guys know. So, yeah. So thank you guys for
Thank
coming,
you.
tuning in, and please follow us. And
Yes,
also, if you have any
please.
questions, any topic ideas, or anything you
Yes.
guys want to
Any
like,
topics? What can we talk about? Let
Yeah.
us know.
yeah, let us
Yes.
know, and then we'll make an effort in like seeing your feedback and seeing what other topics that we could talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
All
thank
right,
you guys.
Thank you so much.
When
Have
Maya
a
would
nice
say,
day.
share, like, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chicken wing, chicken
wing.
wing. Bye, guys.
Bye.
See ya.